BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. All right, in this episode, we are talking about how to leverage technology, how to transform your coaching with digital tools, and there are a lot of them. I bring this up because I hear from coaches quite often who will say, I'm not tech savvy. I'm not that kind of digital guy. And I'm not suggesting that you just have to be all digital. And I think when you kind of hear me out here for a second, you're going to understand what I'm referring to and how tools, how technology, how the digital revolution, if you want to call it that, can truly enhance your ability to grow yourself as a Christian business coach, okay? Let me give you an example, or make sure you understand the word leverage. We should always look to do things with efficiency in a more powerful way. And it's not something that's just a one and done. I think it's something that you have to kind of really have a thirst for. You're continuing to read about it, you're learning about it, you're watching, for it, and so on. And I'm not just referring to ChatGPT, by the way. While that's certainly the biggest, I don't even want to say craze. It's a truly useful tool. Sure, it has some dangers to it, but the love of money has danger to it, used incorrectly, right? And so leveraging is a word that you really need to embrace and to fall in love with. How can you complete anything? It's not about doing it lazy at all. It's about actually doing it better with less friction, less force, less time, less effort, less money, right? That's what leverage really is. This is kind of the old saying that, when you have a really strong network and you leverage your network, you're likely going to get a lot more opportunities in life. And it's not just about knowing the right people, but there's a big part of that. That's true. So when you have a bigger network and you can leverage it, you really can be exposed to a lot of opportunities. Well, technology is the exact same way, okay? So first, I want you to really just embrace, fall in love with, think about, write down, put it on a Post-it note, just the word leverage, and really in all aspects of your business coaching practice, okay? But here's the other part about technology and the way that I want you to think about it. And before I do that, I do want to say, if your mindset is of what I mentioned a moment ago, I'm not good at technology. All this digital stuff is not for me. I need to encourage you that you stand a chance of being, passed by everybody else who is leveraging technology. And it doesn't, you don't have to have this, if you don't feel like you're good at it, I get that. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, being organized is not a natural gift mix for me. Now, my wife is incredibly organized. And so it took me a long time to, number one, to have this idea to understand of the power of how being organized really plays into my life. Because I watched it play out for my wife. And so I still to this day, even though I'm very organized today, but still to this day, I have to work at it because it's not just a natural first thing that I'm going to think about. I have fallen in love with and understood the results of what being organized brings. And so when we look at technology, you need to really understand the power and the impact of the results that leveraging technology in your coaching business and what that can do for you. And I think when you do that and you begin to learn in small baby steps, look, most of life is learned through small incremental adjustments. And as you make little adjustments, and the next time you make a little bit more, over time, you really have kind of moved the needle. And that's the way I want to encourage you to look at it. So you've got to understand leverage. You got to have a mindset to understand the power of the results of what technology can do for you. And now I'm going to get into the weeds a little bit of just sharing with you some tools to think about, not just the actual brand of the tool itself, but what can happen and how you can do some really amazing things for a very low amount of friction, time, and cost, okay? So set the tone here real quick. many years ago, probably 15 years ago, because there's the actual application of using the tool and then how the tool is being viewed, which I'll explain. About 15 years ago, I saw this product that came out to be a competitor to PowerPoint. Okay, it's called Prezi. Still around today. They do a very good job. Lots of people still use it. But this was one of the first at the time alternatives to slide presentations. Because at the time, the bullet point slide presentation idea was just becoming very boring. And it was just, everything was just a bullet point, a bullet point, a bullet point, a bullet point. So I decided I was going to try it, and I had a presentation coming up, and I did. And man, people were wowed. And that's the point, is that it wasn't just about the content. While, yes, we have to have good content. You need to have amazing content. You need to have a thirst and a hunger and a desire to be excellent with your content. But sometimes the way that the tool that you're using to present the content, in this case, Prezi, did as much lifting at the time. Now, to be fair, it was new at the time. But I learned then that just the power of how technology you can leverage, in that case, to prove a point and to wow a crowd. And it did. So this is what leverage really is. We want to understand the placement of what the tools can do, and beyond just creating efficiency in building the business, okay? Here's a real world example of that right now. If you do networking at any local level at all, and if you're thinking about networking, I'm talking about, the BNI groups of the world, the Million Cup Clubs of the world, the Rotaries, the Chamber of Commerces, and everything in between, right? And so one of the things that you're doing there is you're connecting with people. You're getting to know them. You're asking questions. You're getting feedback. You're building a relationship. And if you don't see it that way, I want to urge you that that's a huge, powerful part of building your network. That's why they call it networking, is asking great questions and adding value. Well, what's one of the standard things that people do at any kind of networking event? They swap business cards out, right? And think about, I don't want my business card, by the way, I don't even have a business card. I don't want my business card to get into a stack of cards, because all they're likely going to do is probably find themselves in someone's desk drawer. However, there are technologies. One of them is called DOT, D-O-T. You may have seen this before. You may have seen someone at your networking event, but if you did, it's very few people. Where they have them in multiple versions, but one looks like a credit card. So if I came up to you, we started talking, and we get to the point of wanting to exchange relationships, I can literally lay the card over your phone, and just like the whole scanning a credit card does today at any kind of point of sale terminal, my contact information will pop up automatically on your phone. So one, I'm using the technology to make it easy that now I get my contact info in someone's phone immediately. But beyond that, just like the Prezi example, there's a little bit of a cool factor too. Oh man, that's kind of cool. And you can get remembered by doing that. So there's part of this that's saying that how can I stand out amongst all the other stuff that's going on right now? And so just researching of the things that you need to do. Now, you don't get distracted. And I'm speaking to the choir because it's really easy to make that happen. Because some of the tools you may not actually need, but you convince yourself, oh, it's so cool, I need to do that. And it distracts you, and it distracts you away from the very most important things that you need to be doing, especially your revenue generating activities. But technology like that is exactly how you can leverage the wow factor and also get your contact in someone's phone and it likely not be forgotten. So here's a few other things just to consider, just to give you some examples to think about, and then you can go on your own and figure out what tools do I need for me and my business. A CRM. A lot of people still to this day are just keeping track. If you don't know what a CRM, customer relationship management system, you've probably used one at some level before. However, when I talk to coaches, they're still doing things in spreadsheets or Word docs, and they'll convince themselves that it works, and it doesn't, because it will always take you 10 times more time to not have them in the right kind of tool. And there's free ones out there that have free versions, Pipedrive is one of my favorite simple, simplistic versions. HubSpot's another one, but the list goes on and on and on. But as a coach, you want to leverage it by using a simple tool. Pipedrive and HubSpot are very simple to use, but also can be robust if you need them to. Okay? Canva. If you've ever seen any of my podcasts on YouTube's or not YouTube's, YouTube, or you've watched the video training, you see the thumbnails. Those are created in probably 60 seconds or less in Canva, where it used to take almost 10 minutes to 15 minutes to create those. Canva is now an incredible tool for any kind of social media content, brochures, ebooks, you name it, and it can be done. And because of their template platforms now, you do not have to be an expert in visual. Now, later on, sure, having somebody else do those things for you, absolutely. But in the beginning, Canva can absolutely be an amazing tool for you. If you were to podcast, just like I do, Spotify has become the player. It doesn't cost anything, zero. And the tools are right there. You don't even have to have editing software. You can utilize all of their internal things. Is that the best in the world? No. But it's a great place to start with no cost and getting started down the road. Okay? Ebooks. You don't have to spend any money creating ebooks. You can create them using ChatGPT. You can create a very simplistic 1-page, 2-page, or 150-page. And then you can use Canva to put it all together. Clearly, Zoom. Video teleconferencing. I get this question all the time. So do I have to coach locally only, or can I coach all over? You can coach anywhere you want with using video teleconferencing. No. Now, look, no, you're not going to ever beat flesh upon flesh, shaking someone's hand and being in their presence. But it's just not always practical. And you are able to scale. I'd say the last 8 years of, not the last year, but in the last 8 years when I was coaching directly, all of my time is now spent with our coaching network, was done on Zoom because most of my clients came through referrals all over the country. And Zoom allowed that opportunity to happen. Okay? So you've got technology to be able to connect with people all over the country, all over the world. You've got technology to wow people, to connect with them at a networking event. You've got technology to be able to create visuals for social media, for ebooks, you name it. You've got technology to keep up with all of your relationships. When I need to follow up with them, what do I need to say to pre-schedule items. I've got technology to create podcasts, both audio and video, that don't cost anything. And the list goes on and on and on. Now you have to determine for yourself what of these tools, or how are these tools going to truly help you. Okay, you don't have to use all these tools, but I'm just wanting to encourage you that technology absolutely can play a significant role in your life of helping you build your business coaching business. So if you, one, have a mindset that says, that's not for me, I just want to impress upon you to really think that through. Number two, if you're trying to figure out which ones, you need to put them into an arrangement. How can I use technology to network? How can I use technology to coach? How can I use technology to communicate? How can I use technology? How can I use technology? And so on. So that's the question that you ask. How can I use technology to do X, Y, and Z? And everyone's in a slightly different situation than others. We have coaches on our team that do strictly group coaching. Like they don't do anything in person at all. We have coaches who only do in person, right? So that's going to alter the level of technology that they're going to use and that they're going to need. And that's something that you just have to determine. And like everything else, you're going to use things here and there, and it's going to change over time. You're going to adapt and adopt things as you grow and as you do things differently over time. But technology can make you look a lot bigger than you really are simply by using the tools. And that's the attitude and the mindset I want to leave you with today. Hey, if you're interested about starting your very own business coaching business, you've thought about it for a long time, it's been on your heart, you want to make a significant impact and income as a Christian business coach, you just don't know where to start. You don't even know, you have it in you. Well, that's exactly who we help. We help Christian men specifically with a done-for-you business coaching business so that you can live life on your terms. You can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. There's some information there. You can also schedule a time for a quick chat to learn more about it, and we can go from there. All right, until next time, take care.